any time. The foreign trade, free trade agreements that we have, that also is a small hole that is taking out. All the infrastructure bottlenecks that we have is another big hole that is removing our competitiveness. High railway freight is another big hole that is removing our competitiveness. Custom duty of coal is another one mentioned this morning. Then the financial cost, the interest rate. So we can see many holes that is pulling us out, making us less competitive. And once you tackle one, say railway freight, so you are actually blocking one hole. So there is competitiveness is improving, and you are filling up that tank faster. If the customs duty on coal is removed, you are filling up that tank faster. So there are many ways of filling up the tank fast and many ways of removing it. And as we are thinking of this in India, I'm sure the Chinese are also thinking in the same way, and others are thinking in the same manner. So the job is to figure out how to block those holes and how to make this tap move faster so that the tank remains full all the time. It need not overflow, but it must remain full all the time. I think that was the main in which two of the steel makers also mentioned of the bottlenecks that we have, and I know what sort of advantage we can have if these bottlenecks are removed. On the other side, the main worry of the steel users, I thought they will talk about the steel quality is not good, the steel delivery times are not good. You know, all these complaints which used to come all the time when I was involved in steel industry, the new people have removed all that. The only problem that they have is still the price volatility. A price low, high is not so much of a problem, but the volatility is what is affecting their way of thinking. And if the volatility comes down, I think they feel that it will be possible to increase the use of steel in construction. Both are coming from construction industry, and I'm sure that similar sort of thing would be in other industries like automobile. But the automobile industry will talk more of quality, more of delivery and some other areas which has not been affecting them so badly. So it is not uppermost in their mind that we did not get the rebars on time or structurals on time. Another way of thinking is that cement is competing with steel. It always does, but it has been articulated very well by Mr. Mukherjee. And that's another area that we need to think how to make more of, a steel maker should think how to make more steel intensive construction. And steel intensive construction cannot be very expensive because there is some good advantage after 20 years. It has to be less expensive now or equal now. So that's a challenge that the users are placing before the steel makers. And Abraham Stephanos is somewhere in between. He does not take sides. He says, this is good, this is good. So I think that's how I will sum up. And I thank Bengal Chamber of Commerce for being so good in organizing a seminar on such an important issue in West Bengal. Thank you.
I will request now BCCI President, is Ambarish present here? Yeah. To hand over the memento to the
Okay, before Ambarish gives away this thing, he is going to say something for certain. I just wanted to know, since we have 2-3 minutes, if there is any burning question which any of us in the panel can respond. Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon, all of you, all my gurus and seniors. My name is S.B. Malik. I'm working in IBM Engineering as DGM Marketing. Now, it has been some decades now I'm in this industry. I've seen the highs in 2004s and 5s where SAIL used to have modernization projects every 3 months. And we used to go to Bhilai, Bokaro, Durgapur, Rourkela and ISCO for submitting, and at that point of time I was too young, I didn't understand the paraphernalias, but I used to enjoy all of these SAIL tenders. Now, what my question is now is that we live and we eat on the steel business. So we couldn't have fish if the steel industry goes for a bump. Now, in that scenario, and we dream about steel in the night. So we love, have burning emotions in our heart that India, we will see at least 300 million in my lifetime. Now, my question is, we are seeing all the factors why steel industries can grow, cannot grow, where it can fit in, what are the possible demands and consumptions of steel. Now, I was just thinking that even if everything falls in place, then why did JSW Bengal and POSCO had to cry and go? Is it only land and linkages? Why is that so?
Yours is a question that will make us think. I don't think we are ready to answer that one. So as you let Amrish carry on that.
We'll go from one side for logistic convenience. Unlike steel logistic, at least let it be good here. Somnath, Goa. Mr. Amit Mukherjee. Mr. Mike Barton. Dr. Tridivesh Mukherjee, Chairman of the session. Mr. Stefano, my past colleague in the aluminium race, which is not a bad metal to be very frank. Mr. Partho Sengupta, I think it's a ritual to first give a vote of thanks, and I know sometimes the audience gets impatient because a vote of thanks covers each and every person, including the person for agreeing to give a vote of thanks. I won't make it that long because we all know from Bengal Chamber of Commerce, it is the delegates, it is the speaker, the chairman, the media, and all the industry supports we got, for which we have been able to organize this conclave. I think the President, Bengal Chamber, has indicated or promised that we will have it as an annual event. I definitely, there was a lot of wise suggestions during this deliberation. Frustration do come. I don't know, maybe in some cement seminar, Amit said that, look, steel is becoming so competitive, so cement people, watch, you should lower your price. Because when on TV I see Mr. Nayak speaking, he says, we have stopped taking orders below 12% margin. So, you know, it's always something which is there between buyer and seller. We do get, the steel people, we do get frustrated when we move from a very high price scenario to somebody where you start bleeding. We do get frustrated. So, you know, in management there is a saying that don't invest somewhere where there is not a entry barrier. You see, so that there is. So one of my friends said, in an utter frustration, steel is the best business because it has a strong entry barrier. I said, why? He says, no sensible investor should invest in it. But that's when the chips are down. We still believe everybody felt we are talking so much of the country's growth, becoming so many trillions economy, etc., and steel is basic to the nation. And steel incremental production does not come at the lowest cost of variable cost of production of say Tata Steel or somebody. It has to come at the incremental cost of production. So the suggestions which has been given, like mines, logistic, cost of finance, everything, and government, because in our country it's unfortunate that fait accompli costs we bear. State electricity board, airlines, government is happily bearing it. But when we talk of creating asset which is basic to the economic growth, we somehow, we don't start talking about this sector is the biggest culprit on NPA and things like that. So I will think that this sector needs more attention. It is to be understood that whatever has happened in iron ore, etc. in past, such a large investment cannot be done and sustained unless there is some amount of reasonability in the price. Believe me, the World Bank president once came to India and he looked at the plant's process and then he said, Dr. Bhattacharya, you mean the steel is sold at $300 a ton like a branded shirt? I said yes. He said eventually it has to be at a fairer price. For that, if the low cost producers mince money, they deserve it. But it has to come at a reasonably fair price was the feeling. You may say I am biased because I belong to the metal sector, but there is some rationale in saying that $300 today is not the right price. As even for oil, it may suit our country if the oil price becomes $15 a ton. But again a question will come, a natural resource utilization, everything. Is it a fair price at which it has to go to every country just because my country is an oil importing country? Everything at the end of the day is a game of fair price, customer service, everything. I thank everybody again. Basically whatever I am speaking now is on the request of Ambarish, and I congratulate Ambarish at the end that within few days or weeks of becoming the president, he has been able to put together such a seminar in a depressed price scenario where even approaching the industry for financial help becomes an embarrassment. But I am sure Bengal Chamber will do more value-added seminars on the metal in future, probably once steel every year and once on the metal where the non-ferrous guys are included, because then that can be made a bigger events. Only on non-ferrous it does not reach a critical mass because there are limited players. Thank you all very much. I've rarely seen such attendance in the post-lunch session up to the end, and maybe it's attraction of the chairman and the speakers. Thank you very much.